The world around you is a silent molder. It starts molding before you even realize that you are living. You are named, you are labeled, you are framed. They're not evil, these frames. They're automatic. Like a program. Like a mechanism. At first, you're just a child who feels. The world is perceived directly, without filters. The trees are giants. The ceiling is the sky. Your laughter is real, your fear is uncovered. But very quickly you are taught what is beautiful and what is shameful. What's okay and what's not okay. And gradually you shrink. You learn to be comfortable. To smile when you don't want to smile. To be silent when you want to yell. To comply when you want to say no. That's the beginning of the mask. It fuses with your face, becomes your image. Not for yourself, for others. The system is soft but powerful. It says, be like everyone else and you'll be fine. Love what's accepted. Strive for what's fashionable. Or show it. Prove. You fulfill, not because you believe but because you don't want to be left behind. And now you are like a mechanism. The body moves but the soul is silent. All life is like a role in a play. The costume fits well. The lighting is set. The words are learned. But the stage is not yours. You're playing someone else's story. And you're doing it well. But inside there's an emptiness. Like you've been replaced. Like the reel you went on break and never came back. At some point you stop. Not outside, inside. It's as if someone has removed the sound and left only silence. In that silence you hear yourself. Not a voice, not a thought, attention. Barely perceptible but constant. A call that is decades old. But it's not gone. Because he is you. Your mask is not based on deception. It's based on fear. Fear of being rejected. Of being strange. Being real. But what if fear is just a door? Not a trap but a threshold? You've been taught to be comfortable. But you weren't taught to be yourself. And now is the time to change that. Powerful conclusion. You're not broken, you're just muted. The life you're living isn't yours and you've always felt that. It's time to not fight the mask but to take it off. Not for anyone. For yourself. You are not a role. You are not a mechanism. You are a living truth that has been waiting to be remembered. Translated with deepl.com free version. Inside everyone there is a place where no light shines. There lives something that we have hidden. From others. From ourselves. From the world. There is the anger we were ashamed of. The fear we denied. There is shame for our own tenderness. There are all our can'ts that we hid under our smiles. This is the shadow. It is not evil. It is rejected. It is a part of you that you stopped recognizing because someone once said, it's ugly. It is dangerous. This is wrong. And you believed it. You began to divide yourself. Into acceptable and unacceptable. Into light and dark. But the discarded does not disappear. Just waits. It is silent but influential. Through elections. Through reactions. Through painful words that you regret later. Through repetitions that you cannot explain. The shadow does not take revenge, it reminds. That it is a part of you. That you are not whole without it. The world has taught you to be afraid of your depth. To be normal. To be understandable. To be like everyone else. And the real essence is often ugly. It is raw. It is wild. And that is why it is alive. Your power lives in the shadows. The one you've been holding back. The one that was called rudeness, selfishness, or weakness. But it is not against you. It is your backup engine. It appears when nothing else is left. When all the light cracks. And suddenly the darkness begins to speak. Many people retreat at this stage. Because they are afraid of their true selves. Because they are used to being understood, not honest. Because it is convenient to live a role, even if it is suffocating. But without meeting the shadow there is no transition. There is no power. There is no self. The shadow is not a demon. It is an exiled ally. And only by recognizing it are you whole again. A powerful conclusion. You are not weak because of your shadow. You are weak while you are hiding from it. The part of you that you were most afraid of is where the real power lives. It is not against you, it was waiting for you to stop being a stranger to yourself. Inside everyone there is a place where no light shines. There lives something that we have hidden. From others. From ourselves. From the world. There is the anger we were ashamed of. The fear we denied. There is shame for our own tenderness. There are all our can'ts that we hid under our smiles. This is the shadow. It is not evil. It is rejected. It is a part of you that you stopped recognizing because someone once said, it's ugly. It is dangerous. This is wrong. And you believed it. You began to divide yourself. Into acceptable and unacceptable. Into light and dark. But the discarded does not disappear. Just waits. It is silent but influential. through elections, through reactions, through painful words that you regret later, through repetitions that you cannot explain. The shadow does not take revenge, it reminds that it is a part of you, that you are not whole without it. The world has taught you to be afraid of your depth, to be normal, to be understandable, to be like everyone else. And the real essence is often ugly. It is raw. It is wild. And that is why it is alive. Your power lives in the shadows. The one you've been holding back. The one that was called rudeness, selfishness, or weakness. But it is not against you. It is your backup engine. It appears when nothing else is left, when all the light cracks, and suddenly the darkness begins to speak. Many people retreat at this stage, because they are afraid of their true selves, because they are used to being understood, not honest, because it is convenient to live a role, even if it is suffocating. But without meeting the shadow, there is no transition. There is no power. There is no self. The shadow is not a demon. It is an exiled ally. And only by recognizing it are you whole again. A powerful conclusion. You are not weak because of your shadow. You are weak while you are hiding from it. The part of you that you were most afraid of is where the real power lives. It is not against you, it was waiting for you to stop being a stranger to yourself. Every nation has its own legends. Each has a hero. He leaves home. He goes into the unknown. He meets trials. He loses himself. He wins. And returns, already different. This is not a fairy tale. This is a map. It's an ancient code woven into your cells. It's not about someone else. It's about you. Joseph Campbell did not invent this path. He simply saw that all cultures, all generations tell the same story. The story of a man who heard a call. She refused, but went anyway. The awakening of a hero does not begin with victory. It begins with a crack. You look at the world and can no longer pretend that everything is normal. What once gave you peace of mind no longer warms you. The things that used to make you happy no longer do. It's as if you are starting to crumble from the inside. And this is the first step. You cannot go back. Because there is no going back. There is only forward into the unknown. There are no guarantees there. There is no support. There is no map. There is only an inner voice. And trust in it. You go and you lose. Stability. Approval. Old friends. Parts of yourself. But with every loss you lose your old skin. It wasn't bad. It just became tight. A hero is not someone who defeats enemies. A hero is someone who meets himself. And does not run away. Someone who recognizes, yes, I am scared. Yes, I don't know. Yes, I am not ready. But I am going. Because I can't stop going. The point is not in the achievement. The point is in the journey. Every fear is a gate. Every defeat is a clue. Every night is a test. The hero does not avoid the darkness. He enters it with his eyes open. And he brings out the light. A powerful conclusion. You don't wait any longer for someone to say it's time. The time is already here. It is inside you. You don't need permission, you don't need a plan. You only need one step, an honest one. Because a hero is not created by victories. A hero is born the moment he decides not to betray himself. There is a moment that is not described in fairy tales. Even myths are silent about it. It is not a battle. It is not a triumph. It is the silence before a complete collapse. When the hero is alone. Without an answer. Without hope. Without strength. This is not just a loss. This is an inner death. Not physical but deeper. It's when everything you thought you were crumbles. Your plans. Your name. The image. Principles. When nothing else works. There is nothing to hold on to. There is nowhere to go. This is not a punishment. It is a purification. The old part of you is dying. Because it cannot go further. Because it was created for survival, not for freedom. And you cannot save it. You have to let it go. True birth is not when you appear. It is when everything false disappears. And you are left naked. Without armor. Without pathos. No status. Just alive. Just present. In this state you can't pretend. Because you have no strength. There is no mask to hold on to. Your vulnerability becomes the only reality. And it's in this vulnerability that something starts to move. As if a new pulse is breaking through the rubble of your old life. Not immediately. Not loudly. At first as a touch. Like a shadow of warmth. Like a memory of who you were before the pain. This moment is not the end. It is a return. Not to the past. But to yourself. To the person you never stopped being. You just forgot. And you begin to feel not strength but silence. Deep, sincere, living silence. There is no heroism in it. But there is truth in it. And truth is always a birth. This is a powerful conclusion. What you thought was a defeat was a transition. What looked like death was the first breath of a new you. The real awakening comes not with victory, but with the loss of everything superfluous. And it is then that you begin to live, for real. The world loves the strong, but only until they become free. Because true strength is not about muscles, status, or loud statements. It is the ability to be yourself, even when it is inconvenient for others. When you wake up, the first thing you notice is how everything around you is set up. How subtly and deeply the picture was sold to you. What is good is convenient. What is right is to agree. That being apart is safe. But safety without freedom is a cage. Even if it's soft. Even if it is golden. The system is not a government. Not the bosses. Not the TV. The system is in your head. It's the patterns that you accept as truth. These are thoughts that you repeat without even knowing where they come from. These are the voices of parents, teachers, and authorities that have merged with your internal dialogue. And until you question everything, you are playing by someone else's rules. When you start thinking for yourself, you become dangerous. Not because you want to destroy, but because you can't give in anymore. And then everything around you tries to stop you. Through pressure. Through judgment. Through a silent wall. Being yourself is not fashionable. It's a challenge. It's friction. It is a conflict. Sometimes with the outside world. More often with yourself. Because you still want to be liked. You still want to be understood. But over time, peace comes. Not cold, but mature. You don't have to be against everyone. You're just not against yourself anymore. And this is a revolution. Not a loud one. Not loud. But it is real. A powerful conclusion. You don't have to break the system to be free. You just stop being a part of it. You become yourself, and that's enough for everything around you to start changing. The real power is not in the struggle. It is in the realization that you no longer sell yourself for acceptance. There is a moment when everything is quiet. Friends leave. Relatives do not understand. The world that was familiar suddenly seems far away. You are no longer where you were, but not yet where you are going. And this emptiness is the most difficult test. Because loneliness sounds louder than any pain. Many people break down here. Because we are social. We want to be part of something. We want to be heard, recognized, supported. But the path to yourself is always a temporary exile. It is always a zone where you are alone with your own shadows. Loneliness is not a curse. It is an initiation. It is a rite of purification. In it, all supports disappear. All external anchors disappear. And then only you are left. Without roles. Without masks. Without other people's opinions. And it is then that the inner ground begins to appear. Support is not people. It is not status. It is not recognition. True support is the realization that even in emptiness you do not disappear. That you can sustain yourself. Not to run away. Not to drown it out. Not to make excuses. Just be. This state is not loneliness but wholeness. It's like returning home where you haven't been for a long time. Where the stove is still warm but the memories are covered with dust. And you begin to inhabit this house. Not for others. For yourself. This is where the real core is formed. Not the one that is shown to the outside. The one that holds you up when everything falls. The one that whispers, "I'm here for you," when there is no one around. A powerful conclusion. Loneliness is not the end. It is the beginning of your voice. In silence you stop playing and start sounding. You find yourself not where there are a lot of people, but where you have learned to stay with yourself. We were taught that love has to be earned. By behavior. By looking. By obedience. By achievements. We were taught that love is a response to being right. That first you have to meet expectations and only then you can get warmth. And we grow up with this code. We do not choose those who feel. We choose those who can be liked. We do not give away, we invest. And we are waiting for the result. As an investment. As an exchange. But love is not a contract. And not a bargain. It is either there or it is not. Cannot be summoned, forced, bought, begged. It appears where someone is real. And it is held by someone who is not afraid to be vulnerable. Love starts with you. With your attitude towards yourself. If you don't choose yourself, you will always be looking for someone to do it for you. And you will always remain dependent. Because that love is external. The real love is internal. To love is not to give yourself away. It is to be yourself next to another. Not less. Not more. To be not a half but a whole. And to meet not for salvation but for growth. Most people are afraid of true love. Because it requires presence. It does not tolerate falsity. It exposes. It asks, "Are you there? Are you alive?" And if you are not collected inside, love seems like a threat. Because you are afraid to be seen. Not perfect, but alive. But only true discovery creates a connection. Not a game. Not pretending, not roles. It is sincerity. It is not always convenient, but it is always powerful. A powerful conclusion. Love is not when you are tolerated, and not when you are admired. It is when you are seen and stay. But for this, you first have to see yourself and not run away. The world is built on control. Laws, structures, hierarchies, everything is based on external forms. And this is necessary, because chaos destroys. But what if the form starts to control the content? What if control is not a tool but a goal? You've been taught to rely on an external reference point. Someone always knows better. There is a boss, there is a teacher, there is a system. It tells you what's right, how to behave, what to think. And inside there is silence, as if you have no voice yourself. Control works through fear. Fear of making a mistake. Fear of being judged. Fear of loss. And you start to adjust. Not because it's the right thing to do, but because you are afraid. But fear is a bad compass. It leads you where it is safe, but not where you live. True power is not over others. It is over yourself. It's when you don't hide. You don't translate. You don't blame. It's when you say, I am here. I choose. I am responsible. It's not about control. It's about presence. The inner power is quiet. It does not require proof. It does not require submission. It is like calm in the center of a storm. When everyone is shouting, it is silent. And that is why it is heard. It is born of truth. And it lives in actions. Control is an attempt to hold. And power is the ability to let go. Because the one who has himself is not afraid to lose the other. And so they do not get attached. And therefore does not manipulate. And therefore does not bend. True strength is not when you are listened to. It is when you do not betray yourself even when you are not heard. A powerful conclusion. Your power is not to rule the world. It is to not let the world control you. When you stop being a puppet of other people's expectations, that's when you start creating reality instead of surviving in it. There are stories that are read by millions. There are stories that are repeated over generations. There are legends that have become the foundation of culture. But there is one story that does not yet exist. It has not been written. It has not been filmed. It hasn't been filmed. Because it is yours. No one will live it for you. No one will tell you exactly how to go. Because the map is inside. And only you can pull it out of the darkness step by step with pain and light, doubt and determination. You don't create meaning. You just remember it. Many people are waiting for permission. To start. To change. To say. But permission will not come. Because the one who gives is the one who controls. And your story doesn't need a supervisor. It needs an author. You are not the person you used to be. And you are not yet who you will become. But there is truth in this transition. Because life is not about titles. Not in success. Not in applause. It is in honesty. In the ability to live like no one else before you. When you go your own way, you are misunderstood at first. Then they criticize you. Then they respect you. But this is not the main thing. Because the main thing is not their attitude. It's your truth. It is not loud. But it is alive. It is not for sale. It is not imitated. It is a light that does not fade. The story you write will be strange. Sometimes imperfect. But it will be real. And this is its strength. Because it's not about the role. It's about the essence. Not about the appearance. It's about depth. Not about the formula. It's about fire. A powerful ending. You have never lived your own story. Because you were taught to play someone else's. But now is a different moment. Here and now you can start. Not with a new life. But with a new perspective. On yourself. At your path. At your heart. And no one will do it for you. Because this is a story that only you can tell.